We are returning to the surface with dubious rewards in hand. Scrimshaw has his desired trinket, though I wonder if he might regret it one day. The statue is sculpted from something like obsidian, though it is tinted with the odd purple-pink magenta hues of this realm. Its form resembles the thing we saw far below, that gaunt creature of the night with its membranous wings and monstrous visage, and yet it also resembles the gardeners, and the elder things, and perhaps even the excavators. It is almost a distillation of all of the monsters below. Yes, I cannot help but think of them as monstrous even now, at least in some senses. We have been treated to their hospitality, and learned more than a few of their secrets, and yet there is something deeply wrong about this place. It is a realm guided all too much by the whims of an ancient mind that cannot understand most human concepts. A mind made curious, a mind that has taken an interest in us. I had thought to capture an image of the statuette, but I can scarcely bear to even look at it. I am almost afraid to use the photoeidetic device in such a manner. It feels as though it might conjure up another of those faceless angels, those demon avatars. We have returned to the surface, or very nearly so. Our guide left us in a small cavern with a rectangular aperture a short distance off. We parted ways amicably enough, though I should note that the creature spoke perfect English as it bade us farewell. As we traveled through the aperture, we found we were no longer in a natural cavern. Granted, it was still a cave of sorts, still carved from solid stone, but the carvings were undeniably human. If anything, the place felt similar to the rooms we'd visited in the ancient stone structures of the oasis, or rather a larger and more intricate version of such stonework. The air was heavy with perfumed incense, and a pervasive humidity such as one might find in a bathhouse. Everything was bathed in soft violet light, reminiscent of the phosphorescence of the caverns below. Here, though, it was mostly confined to ornate lamps set in various places along the walls and ceilings. Despite the almost civilized setting, there were still plenty of twisting organic forms creeping over the masonry. I wasn't at all certain whether these shapes might be a form of fungal slime, or the extensions of roots from great trees just above us, or something else altogether. We were suddenly aware of a low musical sound drifting through the air, the sound of an unmistakably human voice, murmuring softly in a sort of repetitive melody. A chant, or so it seemed. Following the sound, we made our way through a number of rooms and passages. Then we found the source of this musical cadence. She had her back to us and seemed utterly focused on this strange recitation. Her features were illuminated by strange light which resembled the diffuse luminescence we had seen so very far below. As the stranger came to the end of her chanting, she bowed her head and much of the light faded away. Then she turned and smiled, offering to show us the way out. As we followed in her wake, she explained that her order had long ago made a pact with the One Below All, though that wasn't what they referred to it as. They were to be caretakers of the surface and guardians of the secret. This latter point was of some concern until she quickly pointed out the substance of her recent communion. The Great Mind had told her we were to be escorted safely back to our realm, through the desert and through the gate. Apparently, she'd found such instruction to be very unusual and asked if we were to be detained at any point. In answer, the Mind had suggested that she might wish to depart to our realm with us for questioning its authority. In all honesty, she looked rather pitifully at us, or rather at Scrimshaw in particular. He was soon persuaded to take her on as a guest, at least temporarily. When we said she would need a false name to travel under, she offered the name of Violet. Appropriate enough, as such names go. When we asked for further explanations of her order, she smiled rather cryptically and gestured towards the book in Scrimshaw's hands. A quick search revealed yet another page with a familiar sort of image. The accompanying notes were illuminating enough, though not altogether satisfactory. There is a hidden aspect to the witches of water. I write this now with the special ink prepared by them. They respect my desires for knowledge, but they value their secrets no less for it. So this is an agreement of sorts. I can write freely in this ink alone, so I write of the formless god that they serve, the one below all so venerated by the crawling, writhing things of the depths, the living foundation of this realm, or so they claim, a mind of terrible potency held in check only by its lack of desires. Its only vice is curiosity, or so the witches say at least. I am reluctant to write any further of this thing for now. It is sufficient to say that, just as a different realm lies hidden away beneath the blinding desert, so too a different way lies hidden within these women. Up above they are the water witches, keepers of the oases. Below they are priestesses of a god incomprehensible who worship the formless thing in hidden shrines of violet splendor. We have returned to reality such as it is. When we emerged into the open air, night had long since fallen. The four of us moved silently beneath the trees, with Violet leading the way towards the desert. She paused only to gather a few personal items before we entered the dark emptiness of the amber desert. The place felt almost painfully lifeless after the abundance of strange life we'd seen in the depths. Still, the air felt fresh and almost clean. Mercifully, it was an uneventful and almost pleasant voyage back across the Mediterranean towards more familiar lands. I don't think either Charlotte or myself left our home for at least a couple of days after our return. Violet is now a tenant in Scrimshaw Manor, and the four of us have visited together on a couple of occasions now. The mood has been mostly cordial and even happy, though our most recent visit has left me deeply concerned. It was late in the night, well after all four of us had retired to bed. Scrimshaw had appeared at my door and silently gestured for me to follow him downstairs. He led me to a small, isolated study some distance from the main hall. Charlotte was waiting in that room, but Violet was nowhere to be seen. After closing the door and securing it quite thoroughly, Scrimshaw began to speak. He gestured over to a nearby tabletop where the evil-looking little statue now resided. First, he asked if either of us felt anything strange in its presence. There was an uncanny sense of being watched, though I put that down to simple nerves. Scrimshaw seemed to think it was something more. He gestured to Charlotte, who produced a small bundle of wrapped cloth. As she handed this to me, I recognized the familiar form and weight of the object within, my photoeidetic device secretly brought down earlier in the evening. He asked me to try and use it to capture an image of the idol on the tabletop. What happened next should not have been possible. The device should not work within normal, mundane reality. Yet it worked within that confined room. It worked well enough to capture the sight of that idol. Yes, it is an idol, or something rather like one. Something divine or demonic, or both, that enforces that strange liminal law upon its immediate surroundings. A bridge, perhaps, to an ancient mind that encompasses an entire universe just adjacent to our own. Before I could comment on any of this, Scrimshaw handed me his book, open to a page I'd not seen before. It was the last to appear, so he said. Reading it, I can't help but wonder if this entire venture was arranged by something well beyond us. Perhaps we have all been played as little more than absurd puppets on an eldritch stage. I have little time remaining in which to write. I can say only that I have been blind, and I am soon to return to such blindness. I found the secret hidden within an underground shrine, a record etched into the stone itself in a language not meant for human eyes, yet I can read it for the moment. I wrote the book in this impossible tongue without even realizing I was doing so. Now the symbols are slipping from my grasp, as are all my memories of the world below, yet there are things that I would set down before the end. In times of old, the water witches struck a bargain with the shapeless mind below, the utterly inhuman entity. They would be caretakers of the surface realm and satisfy its curiosity with tales of the world above and the worlds beyond. In turn, they were granted a boon, though they would not say what it was. I have my suspicions, though, as I note that there are no elderly among them. I dare not specify any further, even in this hidden page. The ink fades already before my eyes. It will only be restored when one retraces my steps in full, when one travels below to see what I have beheld. I offer this warning. Have nothing to do with the one below all. It is not a creature of malice, but neither is it a being of compassion. It understands neither of these concepts, and that makes it all the more terrifying to bargain with.